Hey everyone, it's JR with St. Jean Creative Photography, and I kind of want to talk about what inspired my video today. And as I was scrolling through Facebook the other day and I was in one of the photography rooms, I came across a post of a maternity photo session that was on the beach. And the woman who was pregnant having her photos taken, she had her body covered in glitter and she was sitting in the ocean and the waves were breaking around her. And now, even though the photo was kind of cool, the only thought I had was that all these little tiny pieces of glitter were washing off her body and going into the ocean. And glitter is considered to be a microplastic. And microplastics have been in the news a lot in the last couple of years about how they affect the environment and how the animals in the water actually eat these things. They think it's food and they ingest it, and then it moves along into other areas of the ecosystem. So I just want to kind of go over some points and some tips about how photographers can be a little more environmentally friendly when they're doing photo sessions. So my photography company, St. Jean Creative Photography, we are located in St. Petersburg, Florida, and that is right along the beautiful Gulf Coast of the state. And the water's blue, the beaches are great, it's a beautiful area. It is home to an extremely diverse ecosystems throughout the entire coastline. So conservation is not just important to us here in the city and along the beaches, but it's also a way of life. So we're very, very protective about our beaches and our parks and our waterways and everything such as that. The Gulf Coast is an ideal location for beach photos. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. The sunsets are incredible. I mean, I've seen many beautiful photography sessions along the beaches and on our rocks and in the parks. It's incredible. But we've got to, as photographers, also be aware of the impact that we can have on the environment and to make sure that we take care of the environment so we can have access to this resource for many years to come and for the next generation of photographers as well. We want to make sure they have the same opportunities that we have had to take photos in our beautiful area. So the impact of photography on nature, what does that mean? When we think of photography, we often think of family pictures or weddings, and oftentimes these photo sessions are taken outdoors where it's beautiful out. We got beautiful backgrounds and sunsets and sunrises, etc. So when we're out in the environment taking these photos, oftentimes, especially with weddings and family sessions and even high school senior photos, people will bring props with them. And oftentimes photographers will bring props with them as well. And I think sometimes we as photographers get really caught up in the excitement of doing the photo session and wanting to be as creative as we possibly can and give our clients the best possible photos, that we sometimes often forget that some of the items that we use do have consequences for the environment that we're actually working in. So at my studio, St. Jean Creative Photography, I'm very aware of the environment that's around us. And part of this stems from my time working as a photographer with Walt Disney, especially at Animal Kingdom, because at Animal Kingdom, it's very, very environmentally sensitive. They're very, very much about the environment and preserving animals and habitats. So the park, everything we would do at the park ties into the environmental mission that the park has. So like the park did away with plastic lids for their cups, did away with the plastic straws, and they used paper straws. They got rid of plastic wrappings. They did whatever they could do to make the environment an ecosystem better for all the people and the animals that live there. All of our mission who worked there was part of that mission as well. And we really worked hard to make sure that we did the best we can. Now, my policy with St. Jean Creative Photography is to try to be the least intrusive on an environment as we possibly can. So we always do, and we adopted what you bring is what you take policy to ensure that whatever we take with us on our shoots leaves with us and then gets disposed of in the proper way or sent to recycling where it should be done. So some of the rules at my studio when it comes to working in the environment is that, one, we don't use any glitter. We don't use any type of plastics that we can possibly help it in our photo sessions. Number two, we don't bring balloons. We do not supply balloons for any photo session. We'll talk about balloons in a little bit. Batteries. We do use, whereas photographers, we have to use lithium-ion batteries, regular batteries, disposable batteries, whatever you can think of, we use batteries. And we've got to remember that batteries are very corrosive. We need to get those away from those environments and recycle them the proper way. And one of the biggest things here on the Gulf Coast is that we've got to have respect for the habitats that the animals live in. There are manatees, turtles, birds, you name it, they're everywhere. There's nests, there's sea life. So we need to have respect for the habitats that these animals live in and try not to be intrusive into their homes, because we want to make sure that they have the same chance to enjoy it, the coastline, as we do. You know, there's been many times I've gone out to do a photo session on the beach or in a park, and I will see fake flowers on the ground, or paper, confetti paper. And sometimes I found batteries on the ground, and I can tell that there was a photographer there, because this is what photographers use in their photos. And they just leave it there. They don't pick it up. Oh, you'll see glitter all over the ground. And it really kind of makes me a little mad that when people don't clean up after themselves, because number one, the effect on the environment, but number two, if you don't pick up, eventually the people who keep these locations clean and oversee them are going to find out that photographers are making a mess, and they're going to ban you from actually being able to use the location. So, you know, just being aware of what you're leaving behind is really important. And whatever you go with our general rule, whatever you take with you into the shoot, you always take back with you. And if you can't take it back with you, you probably shouldn't be using it in your shoot. So I just kind of want to go over some things that photographers use in their sessions, and perhaps give some ideas on better choices that we can replace these items with. And the non-biodegradable props. This is a big one. What's not biodegradable? You know, that means it breaks down over time. And unfortunately, plastics can take thousands of years to break down. So they live in the environment for an extremely long time. And a lot of the things that photographers use are constructed of plastic. The first one is glitter. Glitter is plastic. I hate this, you know, I love glittery things. If something's glittering, I have to go over and touch it. I'm like a fish to a lure. I have to go see what it's all about. And glitter can be fun for crafting projects. But think about, you know, glitter is plastic. It is shiny little pieces of plastic. And these little pieces are microplastics. And when they get into the environment, the animals will eat them. They'll think it's food because it glitters and they're food. Like fish will glitter, and then bigger fish eat the little fish. And that glitter gets into their system, and eventually it works its way through the food chain and ends up on our food. And then we eat the plastic as well. I mean, it's said that every person in the world has some kind of amount of microplastics in their bodies at all times from all the microplastics in the environment. So using glitter outdoors, I highly discourage using glitter. I mean, I don't like to use glitter because, number one, it just gets everywhere. I mean, if you're in the studio and you use glitter, I mean, you'll be sweeping that glitter for decades because you'll keep finding it. And when you put glitter on people, believe it or not, especially with women, boudoir sessions and maternity sessions, you know, it can get swallowed. And if it gets into certain parts of the body, it can cause infections. And I've actually had conversations with photographers who have had women get infections in certain places, and they've had to seek medical attention because the glitter got inside. But there are solutions to glitter. There is biodegradable glitter. So if you're going to use glitter, look for biodegradable glitter so that it doesn't take thousands of years to break down. One solution I have found that works out here is it's sugar. It's actually called sanding sugar. And it looks just like glitter. It works just like glitter. It blows like glitter. It can go on your body. But the thing is it's sugar. So when it comes off your body, it doesn't affect the environment. It dissolves and gets, it's natural. It's not an unnatural thing like plastic. So there are many options out there to substitute for glitter without having to use actual real glitter. And I don't get a lot of requests for glitter in my photos, but for those of us who are maternity photographers or boudoir, that usually has some kind of glitter aspect to it sometimes. So you may want to reconsider using an environmentally friendly glitter substitute versus actual real glitter. So let's talk about another non-biodegradable item, and these are artificial flowers. Now, photographers, Mother's Day sessions, weddings, maternity sessions, outdoor weddings especially on, we'll use fake flowers. Well, they could be a little less expensive than real flowers, number one. But what I have seen a lot is the rose petals. At the outdoor weddings, they spread the rose petals on the sand in front of the bride. And oftentimes, people will opt to buy artificial rose petals instead of real rose petals. And these are made of plastic. I mean, they're polyester, which is a plastic. And it takes years and years and years for them to degrade in the environment. And when you throw them in front of the bride, of course, it's always windy on the beach, so they get swept away with the wind, so there's no way to retrieve them. So with flowers, I always, especially with the rose petals, I always suggest using real rose petals. Because number one, it's a natural product, and it will dissolve into the environment. They will, break down. Oftentimes I'll see the circle of flowers where they stand in, and these are often fake flowers. So use real flowers to create your circle and your arches. I know it's a little more expensive, but in the long run, it's better for the environment. So artificial flowers are a big problem. I see them quite often. Oftentimes I've gone to locations in a park where there might be a pavilion, or a gazebo, and there'll be petals all over the ground and confetti pieces all over the ground. And oftentimes these things are all made of plastic as well. So try to find natural products like real rose petals, real flowers, and if you can find, biodegradable confetti. Confetti is made of paper, but so oftentimes that's a little easier to break down. But just check, the bag and make sure that the items are environmentally friendly. So this next one is a big one for me, and it's balloons. And when I was working at the Animal Kingdom at Disney World, balloons are not sold at the Animal Kingdom, and nor are they allowed to enter the park. So if you were at Magic Kingdom the day before and your kid has the balloon with them the next day at Animal Kingdom, they will not be allowed to bring that balloon into the park at all. And they have a balloon check-in station at the front where it goes into a room with your name on it, and then as you leave the park, you can pick up your balloon on the way out. So that has to tell you something of how much balloons affect the environment. Number one, they're just not biodegradable because they are rubber and plastic, so it takes them thousands of years to break down. Balloons are fun, they're colorful, and let's see, baby showers, birthday parties, weddings, family sessions. I've seen balloons everywhere in photo sessions. So how do you deal with balloons? That's a hard one too. At the studio, my studio, we do not provide any balloons to our clients. That's just an environmental decision that we made. So now if the clients bring balloons to their session, we're aware of the balloons. We won't say no to photographing them, but we make sure that one, they either take the balloons with them as they leave, or two, we offer to take the balloons with us, and then we'll bring them back to the studio where we can, let the air out and then dispose of them properly. The thing with balloons, especially with the ocean, are the sea turtles. And when the sea turtle or when the balloons fall into the ocean, or even like plastic bags or baggies, they get in the water. And sea turtles' eyesight, it's in the water, it's blurry. They look just like jellyfish, is what the turtles eat for food. So they often will ingest the bags and the balloons, thinking that they're actually jellyfish trying to eat them. So, yeah, this is a big one, especially with the amount of sea turtle nests that we have along the Gulf Coast here. So just the best practice is just avoid balloons when you can. And if the client brings them with them, make sure they take the balloons with them, or offer to take the balloons from them and then bring them back to your location and then dispose of them properly. The next thing on my list of being better stewards of the environment are batteries. Don't we love batteries? We're photographers, and we use batteries all the time. And we use regular batteries, disposable batteries, rechargeable batteries, lithium-ion batteries. You name it, we probably use it as a battery. And oftentimes when we're out in the environment, we'll have batteries in our flash. And of course the batteries do die over time, they get less effective, so we have to change them. And what do we do with our batteries when we change them? Do we toss them on the ground? Do we throw them in a container? So batteries are very, very corrosive. There's acid inside these things, so we don't want them to decay outside in the environment. At the studio here, we have a policy that all the batteries that we take with us out in the field come back to the studio. So here at the studio, we have a container for used batteries. We keep them in the container. And then when it gets to a certain point, we take them to a recycling center. Because it's better to recycle them than to leave them in the trash going to a landfill where they can leak and cause more damage to the environment. Lithium batteries, which we use in our cameras, our phones, and our tablets and things such as that. These are highly explosive under certain conditions, and when they do lose their power over time as well. So you want to make sure you recycle these just like you would do regular batteries. Take them to the proper location to have them disposed of properly. And also a good practice is to use rechargeable batteries. They may be a little more expensive than the regular batteries, but over time you'll save money from having to buy so many batteries. Number two, you won't be putting as many batteries into the environment. And number three is when the rechargeables finally lose some of their power, you just take them, recycle them, and then you just purchase new ones to replace them. So in the long run, it actually saves us money, but it also helps us, be a better steward to the environment as well. So the next thing I want to talk about for photographers in the environment is watching out for the wildlife. And so many times I've been on the beach and I've seen people trying to play with the stingrays or trying to drag fish out of the water, or the pelicans. They'll chase these animals are just living there. This is their home. So we want to make sure we respect the animals and the place where they live. We don't want to cause harm to the animals, but at the same time, it's always kind of cool when one of them shows up and we want to get them in our photo. But the trick to that is just let the animals be, and if they want to come towards you, they will. If they don't want to come near you, they won't. A couple months ago, I had a couple in town, and it was their 50th wedding anniversary, so we did a photo session on the beach. And we got down to the shoreline, we're doing the photo, it's really nice, and all of a sudden this blue heron just kind of flew in right behind the couple. And he just stood there and looked at us, looking at the camera. And, we laughed about it. We watched him. We took a couple pictures. He was behind them. We wandered down the beach, and he followed us. He followed us everywhere we went, which I thought was kind of funny. And I think he was looking for food. So for about 20 minutes, this big bird, this giant bird, just followed us around, and we got him in a few photos. And we never disturbed the bird. We never went up to him. He always kept his distance. But it made a great memory for the couple because they kind of thought, oh, this is really cool. And it was kind of like a good luck thing. And we got some photos with the bird in it. But we never crossed that line to where we went after the bird. And I've often seen people trying to interfere with the turtle nests and the turtles coming out, or the turtle coming up to lay her eggs. Or there are birds that are just there, and then people trying to catch the birds, and so we need to respect the wildlife. Also, like if you're photographing around lakes this time of year, it is alligator breeding season, and you will hear the males making the grunts. So if you're photographing near a lake, you want to stay away from the shoreline, obviously. Respect where they live, and they won't come up to bother you. Don't bring your small animals along the shoreline. Keep your small children away from the shoreline. You want to keep your clients and everybody safe, but at the same time, you want to try to capture the beauty that's around us. So to conclude my little list of ways we can be friendly with the environment as photographers, I want to talk about something that's specific to our coastline here on the Gulf Coast and on the east coast of Florida too, or any beaches across the country. And that is being aware of the dunes. Often, most of the time you'll see signs along the dunes that say, do not walk on the dunes or do not stand on the dunes. And unfortunately, I have seen many photographers take their clients into the dunes and up on the dunes and sitting on the dunes to get photos. We don't have the right as anybody to disturb the environment. We need to respect the environment. We need to obey the signs that are there. The dunes are what protect the islands and the shoreline and the houses and the wildlife and the environment. These dunes build up over time, and they have grass that grow in them that holds them together. And when there's a storm or a high tide, extra high tide, these are what protect everything else. So this is the first line of defense for any beach, are the dunes. And the minute somebody walks on the dunes or sits on the dunes, you're actually loosening the dunes, and this makes them easier to wash away. So we really want to be careful. We don't want to disrespect the environment. We don't want to bring our clients up on the dunes. Now, if you walk on the beach, there are natural pathways in between the dunes. There's no reason you can't photograph in there. You can photograph along the front of the dunes. But don't take your people or your clients up on the dunes. Don't have them walk on the dunes. It's just disrespectful to the beach and the environment. And we want to make sure that we can preserve these locations so that we can photograph in them for years to come, and also preserve them for the next generation of photographers. We want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to utilize these areas for what they need for their craft, for their art. Respect the signs. Oftentimes, the turtles will nest at the bottom of the dunes, or birds will have nests at the bottom of the dunes. They'll usually be, roped off. But so many times I've seen people pitch their tent right at the dunes. So just be aware, stay off the dunes, and everybody will be happier, and we'll just take awesome photos. What it really comes down to is, just being mindful of these simple practices, and we as photographers can play a critical role in preserving the natural beauty and the health of our environment. Adopting sustainable habits not only enhances our artistic value of photography, but also ensures that we keep these breathtaking views breathtaking. So we want to keep the environment vibrant and intact, so that we can enjoy it and the generations that come after us can also enjoy it. Please like, subscribe. I would love to hear how you help protect the environment, so please leave a comment below. If you're a photographer, what kind of steps do you take to ensure that the environment is safe when you're photographing outside? As a person who likes to have their photo taken, what kind of steps do you do to to protect the environment when you're outdoors? It's a great conversation to have, and I think it's one that needs to happen more often. So please, let's start a discussion about the environment and how we can help protect it. So here at St. Jean Creative Photography, we believe that it's crucial to respect the environment that we operate in. not just for the sake of our photography, but for the sake of our coastline and our planet. And we want to encourage other photographers in the community to follow the same suit that we believe is very important. Photographers have a unique opportunity to be stewards of the environment. After all, we photograph it. We have an opportunity to showcase the environment and some of the bad things that happen in it, and give a voice to the environment. We can help preserve the natural beauty for our future generations. Remember, every small action that we take individually adds up over time. So be mindful about your photography practices, and be aware and think about how you can make a difference in how you affect the environment.